All right, so this video is going to cover all the parts we've kind of been across so far, how to pull all of those together into a proposal or a quote to give to your customer. We'll have a look at formatting it, previewing, advanced editing if you're so inclined, sharing the quote and the different options you've got with that, and lucky last digital signatures if you choose to go that route. So to my account over here, I'm going prepare quote on the right hand side, and it pops up with a preview of what the quote looks like so far, which naturally you can scroll through and get a sense of, what's your starting point before you decide to make a whole bunch of changes. In my opinion, the easiest way to think of this is that the quote is essentially built up of these 8 sections. Most of them will be a page, some of the big ones will be longer, but I first of all go through and I think about which ones do I want and which ones do I not want. For me, it's generally around these 3. So just to cover the kind of difference and different things they're trying to achieve, quote items is everything from the estimate cost screen. So think of this as you're starting with a lot of stuff and you're filtering to tell us, do you want to show all the items? PS, I go up and down a lot because I'm previewing it down the bottom. Do you want to show all the items? Do you want to show quantities? Like, what's a good fit for your client? There is no one size fits all for this. Some people just show the categories only. Some people don't even show that. Others will have it listed out like this in a very descriptive way. So probably the main point is have a fiddle with this, see which ones suit you and kind of what the style is of your quoting. Quoted items versus specifications. So there was another video talking about how to make specifications, so I won't touch on that here, but I tend to find that people that go really heavily into specifications, which is supposed to be a more descriptive, kind of image-rich way of showing it, they'll generally turn the quote items off. So it seems to be kind of an either-or, specifications or quoted items. And that leads me to, you can just flick this switch off and away it goes. Allowances, I find that regardless of which way people go with quoted items and specifications, allowances will be switched on if there were PC, PS item allowances in the quote. And just to show you through this one, it has obviously its own options. Quick point, so this video being intended for the Australian, New Zealand, or even UK audience, in those countries, tax is included on the shelf price if you go to a store. In the US and Canada, it's not. So because of this, the default for your account, if you're in those regions, will be to include tax, and hence we get this list of the allowance prices, excluding markup, which we talked about in the video about redistribution. And this is supposed to give the client just a sense of what all options do they have to choose from. The other sections here are pretty self-explanatory. Like as you go through cover page, you'll get all the options for that. As you go for letter, you'll get the options for that. So I then go through and just kind of fine tune it. Typically, I find that I will do a bit of tuning. I'll then go to PDF preview and export and have a look at it. It'll take a second to think about it. There we go. Now, a few points here. For me, the purpose of opening this is to preview it and see what I like and what I don't like and what I want to reorder or change, or like there's a blank page I should have got rid of as an example. You can absolutely print this for people, and we absolutely have that happen. For me, I like to share more digitally, so this for me is more just a preview screen versus actually coming to print it. As touched on before, there is a preview where you can click on this here and scroll down. It's actually the one that opens by default when you first get to this screen. So same thing, just different way of looking at it. Let's have a look at reusing the layouts and some advanced editing and ultimately how to share the quote. So first point here is if you make the world's best quote and you really love it, it's a pain to have to go through and do it again and rebuild it every single quote. So just some points on this. There are two ways of kind of storing the layout for future use. Number one is if I go back to the estimate screen, I can duplicate a whole estimate and that will clone everything in it, including the quote content. Naturally, I can select which bits I want and which bits I don't. So that's one way of avoiding the need to rebuild it. Secondly, is you can have your own templates, as we've probably touched on in other videos. So if I was to go and make this estimate into a template, naturally that template will contain all the quote styling that I like. That works great for some people who are more in the mindset of copying or templating. But let's say you just want to save only the quote layout, the presentation of it itself. Coming into the quote, again, you can save the layout, which just means saving the different settings. A use I've seen with people here is if they have like an initial proposal versus a detailed estimate, and those two things are distinctly different, then saving the layouts and flicking between them is a really good option. That said, you can save a layout. So I'm just going to say example, layout description. So it's supposed to be like, say renovation and then detailed renovation. But I find I kind of put whatever into this box. So detailed breakdown. So if you save that and then see in the select a different layout option, you've got these pre-saved ones. So I've done a few test ones. We've got some standard build exact ones. And just to distinguish, the first one that it goes to by default is this branded layout. Customizable is very similar, but it doesn't have as much of the ability to change colors, and it's not kind of pre-built. So it's a good starting point if you are going to customize it a lot. Going out of here, I do want to highlight one question that I get quite a lot, which is, hey, I loaded a layout and then I changed something, and this wording up the top went to Q1115 estimate copy 4. What on earth? What's going on? Just to clarify that if you are using a layout and then you make a slight tweak just for that estimate, it doesn't change the original layout, and hence it does this to try and highlight the point that it's no longer the template that you're using. You might have started there, but we're now on this kind of temporary saved version. Think of it like almost an autosave in Microsoft Word. Perfect. Now, advanced editing, I'm going to be pretty brief here because there's a whole bunch of resources for people who want this, and honestly, not everyone really uses advanced editing. It's more for those that are, maybe a bit more tech inclined, or know people who are. But advanced editing opens the structure, like the bones of these estimates, and allows you to do changes to them. There's what I would consider simple changes, like clicking here and just changing the title or the style. There's things like applying a background color. That's pretty simple. That's probably where it ends as far as simplicity. Like it's like I said, giving you the bones of this. So if you do really want to fully rebuild this and customize it, we've given you the option. And the only extra point I'll add is if you are playing with this and you blow it up entirely, a sign of that is maybe that the quote doesn't load anymore. You can go reset changes and take it back to what we had as our stock one. Perfect. Last 2 points, sharing the quote and digital signatures. So I mentioned that you can PDF and then print it. That's an option. If I go into send quote, this is where I'm more looking to digitally share it with the client. So a couple of options down the left. Workflows, it's wanting to know like a delivery method. Standard, I think of as if you get a parcel and they just leave it on your doorstep, that's standard. It's delivered. They've done their job. Digital signature is when you have a parcel delivered to your house and you have to sign for it or in some way respond. I use that analogy because digital signature is the client some way acknowledging that they've read it, they've accepted it, and it's ready to move forward. Recipients, things that you would see sharing kind of anything are here. So an option to put it into a client portal if you want. And if so, what else do you want to do with it? Who do you want to email it to? So by default, it'll be the client already. If you want to CC yourself, go for it. If you want to add other people, also fine. And lucky last, email. This is just the body of the email they get. And I generally don't really tinker with this too much, but you absolutely can, and you can preset it like in other areas of the software. So I'm going to share this with digital signature on and share. Perfect, quote shared. If I jump back out of that, that's sending at the moment, and I want to highlight one point, which is I'm not going to wait for the quote to land. I'm going to cheat and use this email button up the top right. This just shows everything that was sent out of this particular estimate, as opposed to communication, which shows everything sent out of the whole account. So I'm just being a bit impatient. I'm clicking in here. I find that another use of this option, other than what I'm using it for, which is just that I'm impatient, another use of this is if you want to check what did you send to the client, or even checking that something was sent to the client, this is a nice way of doing it. So they'll get an email like this. They go view and sign, and that if there was no digital signature, it would just say view. They come through to here. They get this digital format view of it, which we'll have a quick think about it. There it is. Naturally, they can download this if they want. They can share it with whoever else needs to see it. But let's say they've gone through, they're happy with it, and we go digitally sign. This then gives them the signature panel, gives them some wording around, hey, signing the quote is you accepting terms and conditions and any costs. So just letting you know this is what you're doing. They sign it however they want. Sign and accept, and what will then happen is you as the builder get an email, the client gets an email as well, confirming that the acceptance has happened. And if this is running through the client portal instead, the only difference is most of those messages are now in the portal instead of emails. To wrap all this video up, because it's probably gone long enough already, I get these alerts next to different tabs, and this is a bit of a test account, so I've got lots of alerts. But if you click here, I'll have an alert about the fact that a quote was digitally signed. And this is my, other than the email, this is the other way I know that someone signed it. I go view, it takes me in, and it's changed the status here to accepted, which means all locked in. The only bonus point here is if the client clicked accepted and then they've gone, oh, wait, I want to change one more thing. There are cases you need to unaccept it. And to do that, you just change the status back to something prior to accepted. So it could be sent, and you'll get a message saying, are you sure? I really strongly recommend you not do this unless it is a change like that. I guess what I'm trying to avoid is that the client agrees to something and then you change the estimate and then we're out of step with what the client's agreed to. So there's really only a handful of cases you would unlock it like that. As always, any questions, let us know. Hopefully that's been helpful.